Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm back. It's Tuesday. Buddy, you fought a Campbell soup can tonight. What? You didn't get orange? How did you not get orange?
I got some barbecue sauce, so you can see it down there. It's just orange.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
It's a 4-bagger, 4 stitches.
Okay, so what happened to you?
This right here.
Huh? What? You're cooking? Domestic? It's domestic.
That little tab right there.
Oh my gosh, everyone. You didn't even get it open. You didn't catch the ball.
No, it's open. This is the other can.
Oh, you have a second can. Okay. Well, anyway, even though you're a little
look, they won his lawsuit for having hot coffee. What's with this weapon right here?
All right. Anyways,
enough with the tease. That's my tools and my trade.
All right. Okay.
Yes, I need a good lawyer. Oh wait, I know one. Melvin.
Okay. Yeah. Were you gonna sue Campbell?
Why not?
I don't know. Folks, welcome to the Buddy Martin Show. I'm not Buddy Martin. I'm his son, Brenden Martin, and he has 4 stitches in his thumb. That's all right. He's going to play a hurt tonight. We got an exciting show for you tonight. We want to make sure that everybody knows to hit the subscribe button. Smash the subscribe button.
I can't do it.
He can't do it. He's all, he's probably on like all these
painkillers. You ever had a needle stuck in your thumb right there?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Actually, lots of needles. But that's okay. He took
I want some sympathy here.
He took it. I'm sure you do. He took a shot, and he's going to play hurt. They doped him up on the sideline. He's ready. We've got David Whitley in the orange and blue room. If you want to just make sure, because we're at like 60% of all these wonderful people that are going to watch the show, you're not subscribing. Subscribing is a wonderful way for us to continue to bring the content to you for free. So if you want to have it for free, you must subscribe. That helps us get paid. It's a little button. It says YouTube. It's an icon. Bottom right of your screen. Click it. Subscribe. It helps us out. It makes it possible so Buddy can get pink wrapping paper on his thumb. And it's nice because I like pink. And just to say, I also just painted Stella Martin's room pink all weekend. So you're in vogue.
Shout out to the people at the Advent Quick Care. Really took good care of me down there. They're Gator fans, Chris and Chrissy, and really had a great nurse in Tina who did all this beautiful wrapping for me. So thank you. Thank you for that. And my niece George, for taking me down and taking care of her uncle.
Well, thank you to everybody. Tonight we're going to be talking about Billy Napier. We're going to be talking about this taste in our mouth from eating some bad hog and what's it like. Then we're heading to Death Valley. It's going to be an exciting show. Thanks for joining the program. And the Buddy Martin Show is on the air.
It's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ? I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Welcome to the program, Neil, Evan, Robert Turner, Toby Perimeter, Chad Martin. Hey, Chad Martin, you just joined GatorBait. Thank you so much, Chad. By the way, what's GatorBait? That's where people write. It's awesome. Go to GatorBaitMedia.com. We'll talk more about that later. But right now, we have the one and the only, one of my favorite people on the planet Earth, Mr. Whitley.
Oh. Boy, you must not know a lot of people on planet Earth.
I really don't. I don't. I have not many friends. I mean, why would you want to hang out with me? I mean, I'm loud and kind of smell bad. But That's
Well, you
beside
can't
the
smell
point.
over the internet, so it's funny.
I passed the sniff test online. David, how are you, sir?
I guess I'm doing better than Buddy's thumb.
I think I got a lawsuit here.
Have you called Jeffrey Melvin and Melvin
I'm
Law?
going to. Look, think about it.
Right.
I mean, they get lawsuits, getting money for everything else. This can is a weapon, and they cut my thumb, and now I can't work for a year. I have 4 stitches.
Here, I thought you actually had a can opener, and it was a little bit more.
No, it was open. There was 4 of these together.
I don't even.
And no, I know you don't care, but David wants to hear the story. And so 4 of them, I had to cut them apart, and I pulled them out, and I pulled the one tab, and it went up, and it sliced right through there. 4 stitches, David. 4.
Wow.
I think without a doubt you've got a lawsuit here.
I do. I can't work.
You can own Campbell's Soup in about
I wouldn't
3 or
mind.
4 months.
I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, there's a couple Campbell Soup heirs running around Ocala. So,
I know.
Give
we'll make it 3.
I'll take a bite.
Hey.
I'll take a bite. I mean,
Just won $1 million. All you want's $1 million bucks.
Keep
Keep
I'm
your
out
mouth
of here. I
shut.
won't bother you, but injuring writers all over America, these Campbell Soup cans, so they can't work. These tabs, that's a weapon. Okay, I like it. What do you think, folks?
I think I think their folks are you're getting the sympathy, Dad. I think the sympathy vote is strong right now. We're gonna turn off the chat room here.
I hope so.
So
you are officially in thumb protocol now, I guess.
Yeah, and by the way, I think since I get some sympathy out of, I want to be able to get a couple of points across while I got the microphone. Toby Permanent, man after my own heart. He's a loyal listener, and he says once again, it's time to bring back the Gator Bait cheer.
Oh yeah,
bring it back. Come on, David.
I totally agree.
You could do this. You could write a column about bring it back. It's part of our history. Why'd they wipe it out for, man? Come on.
Get my hat.
If I recall, it was for all part of this purging of anything that might offend anybody anywhere on earth.
Right, exactly.
And I didn't necessarily agree with it. But at this point, they could bring back a lot of things. I think everything, a lot of things from the old days should be brought back. Anything to help get them out of this current doldrum.
Yeah. I take offense.
You guys remember the chant?
I take offense to this comment, buddy. You're as soft as a Gator defense. That's a cheap shot. That's a cheap shot.
Do you guys remember the Gator Bait chant? How it goes?
I grew up with it.
Da 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 da. Gator Bait. See, that's how it goes. You guys are supposed to join me, but I guess that's just.
Well, we're sophisticated writers. We don't do that.
High end.
We're laid back and.
Well, you're used to being in the press box. I understand.
I can't even remember 2 bits.
Of
course,
that's
a number, and the current staff is mathematically challenged when it comes to counting players. So
yes, I actually propose. What's the name of that big accounting firm they have at the Oscars? They need to get them in to count players. To know how many get on the. There are 11 necessary, and getting them on the field at the right time in the right units. Those kind of things you don't normally deal with in game 9. I'm just saying, David. Just saying.
Yes, it's funny. Yesterday at Billy's press conference, he first had his opening statement. He says, "Yeah, we're coming in. We've turned the page."
Yeah,
and I'm sure they had. That's the way that coaches operate. They got their looking at LSU film, but turn the page. The problem is that when it comes, especially, they haven't turned the page. It's been the same page all year.
Yeah,
they turn the page, and then you get to the next page, and they're putting 10 men on the field against the next team. Then they put 10 men or 13 men on the field on a play, and then last week they had 18 or 19 men on the field play.
It's like Groundhog Day, but it gets worse each time.
I mean, I think maybe this week or some in the next 3 games, maybe they'll go for, I don't know what the NCAA record, maybe 27 men on the field at once. Have the punting.
Record. Let's go. It's like stuffing the phone booth in the old days. How many can you get in the phone booth? Yeah. How many Gators can we? Huh? How many do you think? I think we'll get 33.
I mean, if you're going to do it right, do it all the way. I mean, this could break some records, right?
Yeah. It's not because any old team could put like 9 men or 10 or 12, but man, go for it.
You just run with like 2 or 3
into the 20s.
Like kick a field goal with just the center and the placeholder and and that's it. That's all you're going to need.
Yeah,
see what happens.
But we kid because we love them. But it is a just a head scratcher. Why, as Buddy said, Game 9, we're having this Groundhog Day conversation.
It is. It is. Meanwhile, other things are, I'm fighting for the history of this program. And I made a comment this morning on Shane's show about why they can't call Todd Golden's era the golden era. David, could you answer that question? Well, they can't call it the golden era.
Was it the Golden Gators?
No, it's a golden era. It's called the golden era.
It's called just the
golden
era.
Late 1940s. They lost, 15 in a row. It was the lowest point in Florida football history. And I said, you can't call it the golden era. And Shane says, why not? Because it was a terrible period of time. But, it doesn't matter. I said, Shane, yes, it does. Oh, nobody cares about that. It happened too long ago. Nobody cares about World War III. World War II. Look, and I got a comment from Lanny Thompson here. It says, buddy, you almost needed a referee this morning with Shane. And I did. So I don't know. Somebody's got to be old and historian. I say you can't call it Todd Golden era the golden era because it's a black mark on the Florida athletic program.
Well, why was it called the golden era?
Because it was it was tongue in cheek.
Oh,
because it was so bad. It was tongue in cheek. It was so bad they called it the golden era.
Called it the golden something else.
We had the silver 60s.
No, that's right. The silver, not the golden. It's the silver 60s. Okay.
Yeah, that was Spurrier's group.
Yes.
They all know about it. It's all linked together. David, for those who say people don't care, they do care about history. Mm-hmm. They do.
I do.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Well, David, what's your take on the, everyone running Billy or wanting Billy out of running him out of town?
Not everybody.
Everybody. Well, look, whatever. What do you take on the negative comments towards Billy Napier and his coaching staff?
It's almost like another Groundhog Day thing. The same conversation we were having after.
I agree.
Kentucky, when they, when you had great hopes and they went up there and laid an egg, is he up to it? And my story's the same. You gotta. My view is, you got to give him 3 years, see what happens.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of patience. But it's also fair along the way to make some judgments. And when you see games like Saturday and just the dumb procedural stuff that really, shouldn't be happening to a high school team more than once, it just accentuates the cry that, man, you gotta shake up this staff and get a special teams person, or how it, some teams don't have special teams person, but they sure know how to run the special teams.
The perfect name is the player personnel director.
Player personnel director. Yeah.
PPD.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Right. I still, I'm one of those that hold out hope and faith. And maybe this is because I just, on a personal level, I like Billy Napier. I'd like to see him succeed. So I want him to do well, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But even if I didn't like him, I'd say, no, to be fair, you got to give him till 3 years. And if these problems are not better, and if you're still, going up against Georgia next year and just hoping not to get blown out, and you don't see the gap closing, then it's time to have the serious hot seat conversation. And I would be one saying, yeah, all you people who have been clamoring for him to be fired, since the Kentucky game, after every loss, you think that the sky has fallen in. Says I may be joining that crowd, but now I'm just, I'm trying to hold out hope. Let's put it that way. Holding out hope.
Well, let's see what this guy thinks. Kyle Curtis joins the program. Kyle, GatorBaitMedia.com. How are you, sir? Welcome to the Buddy Martin Show.
Doing wonderful. Happy to be back.
I just have a question, if I may. Yeah. Are you in an attic?
Yeah. Where are you, by the way?
I'm actually. This is my room.
Okay.
I live in the fraternity house, so I have. Right. It's basically the attic. I lived up in like the 3rd floor, but nice. Yeah, no, the room
nice.
The room is very. It's a unique format.
Right, it looks cool. I have
a name for it?
Attic since Anne Frank.
Yeah, I live in the executive suite up on the third floor.
You're a big man on campus to get that room. I know.
Well,
The penthouse.
it's cool. It's cool. My dad lived here back when he went to college.
Oh,
So
cool.
whenever they come back and visit, it's always they get to come around and walk around the house. So it's cool.
And
shout out
across
to
the street, and across. Excuse me, Brenden. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was just saying, shout out to your dad, by the way. Really cool guy. Great guy. Enjoyed talking.
Yeah, because across the street from you there is the greatest fraternity in the history of mankind, the Phi Delta Theta fraternity house, where I lived on the third floor in an attic like you did, except I had a fan open to me. We had no protection in the winter. No, we couldn't close it off. We slept in the winter up there because it was cheap.
Yeah.
And we put it together and we lived up there and had some great guys that roomed with me. One of them was Don Rutters, a 6-time Final Four referee. Anyway, yeah, I know about that life, Kyle, but you live in luxury compared to what I was at.
Yeah, no, I'm lucky. I would say since you kind of move up each year, and I lived last year. So last year I lived in a very it was small living quarters. But this year's a lot better. So, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I'm in Gainesville.
Good to be a senior.
Playing.
Media star now. You're a media star. That's why.
Well, he's got to have the privacy. You should just call it Studio A. I wanted to ask you all a question that was more of the topic of Billy Napier that I was thinking about today, and I was curious. Everyone's calling for, say, Billy Napier. Let's bring in another coach. Let's, what about Urban Meyer? All these kind of things. Obviously, with the transfer portal and NIL, just bringing in a hard ass to come in and Swamp Kings the whole thing or whatever. Do you all think that's really not that possible, in my opinion, anymore? Do you think that extends the time it takes to turn around a program, and should they be allotted a little extra time, a year or two? And David, we'll start with you.
You mean if to bring in?
Well, it's like everyone wants to bring in a new coach. Great. Who do you bring in? Oh, let's bring in Urban Meyer. Well, Urban Meyer is a different kind of coach.
I don't think everyone wants to bring in a new head coach. They want to make some changes in the program.
Okay.
That's how
I don't think that,
a special teams coach and what have you.
Right. Yeah. Well, as bad as some people think of Billy right now, I think they think it'd be even worse to spin that revolving door once again just after 2 years and start from scratch. I mean, he's shown enough to say, no, we got to, this isn't the the Willie Taggart disaster where you knew 15 minutes in that there was no hope. I mean, there's still reason for hope, plenty of reason for hope and optimism that things will get straightened out. We know all the reasons, the recruiting class coming in, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, there's definitely, a hue and cry, as Buddy said, for bringing in a coordinator, for the special teams, the coordinator for an offensive guy,
play caller.
Yeah. And I think we're going to, I wrote today, just reading between the lines yesterday, where he said he's been taking notes on things and, now in the time for correction. I mean, it's true. You're not going to, unless you're USC, you're not going to fire your coordinator right in the middle of the season. But he wouldn't have anybody to fire because he doesn't, he'd be fired himself.
Yeah.
Offensive coordinator, and there's nobody to fire for the special teams coordinator except whoever that ring of assistants or specialists,
the game changers coordinator.
Yeah, the game changers crew.
Chris Couch, whatever.
Yeah, I think the game changers. It sort of they must be like the biblical thing, the Tower of Babel, where they all get together, but they all speak separate languages. Something just
different code.
Communication problem, whatever it is. The fact it's still happening now, that it's obvious, you don't need to be, the smartest. When he says I'm reviewing everything, you don't need to be a guy from, Ernst and Whitney, whatever the CPA firm is, coming and say, oh, you got to turn things over on this whole system of special teams. So I think you're going to see a major change in the game changer thing. And probably, a pretty good chance you're going to see an offensive coordinator. And that would, I think, check the two boxes on, we got to get somebody in here.
Well, certainly shuffling the deck with OCs is not something that hasn't been happening. Look what's at CU who they announced. Prime announced somebody else to I think today, and then obviously against Arkansas, they had a new offensive coordinator, which a lot of people are
That's
crediting.
what happens when you score 3 points against Mississippi State.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle, what do you think is, for me, it just set you up a little bit. But I think I got a little more patience when you got a recruiting class coming in next year. He may be, struggling or whatever in the wins and losses category, but certainly we all know his recruiting record is pretty strong. It doesn't seem like it's losing steam or people are jumping ship. It seems that he seems to be, signing up more guys, and it doesn't seem to affect it much.
Yeah, I actually had a topic in one of my classes I had to write a paper on today that kind of relates to it. And the topic was we had to write a column on if we thought NIL and the transfer portal should coaches get a longer leash in this kind of new era of college football. And while I think that it's still a situation by situation thing, we've seen what Dion has done and stuff like that. I think Billy Napier, he has, if not he's in that higher upper level of people that understand how transfer portal and NIL work, how they both work hand in hand. I think that he's one step ahead, and he's still focused on getting different NIL entities involved and stuff like that, making sure that Florida's on pace with everyone else in regards to that. But as far as it goes with coaches and stuff like that, I think David killed it and said a special teams coordinator and probably an offensive coordinator and play calling duties I could see during the off season. And I think he mentioned that Monday. I wasn't able to be there at the presser, but I read through it. And, he was just mentioning how it's an off season thing that they're going to evaluate, but he did, lead to the fact that there may be changes and stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, if to remove a coach like this, it's not even like removing a coach. There's so many different people under him that would have to be removed as well. He's got that massive staff, and a lot of time when those coaches come in and they bring in their own people, stuff like that. So as far as that goes, I think Napier, he's got a bit of a leash here for probably another year and a half, especially with the recruiting class, as you mentioned. But I think it's from the bottom up this off season for sure.
Dad, how you think it's all, as we're sort of watching this morph, right? This college football landscape, it's not easy anymore, right? It's a lot more difficult to be a coach and to come in and, it's not like, he tried to, attach to the current setup and program and make what he had worked. I mean, he cleared the boards and started from the struts. So what do you think? You think Billy, does he deserve a little bit more slack here than maybe a lot of people are giving him?
Yeah, I mean, completely. And he came into a team last year. He got a few guys of his own, but he's really only had one full offseason where he's been able to bring in all of his guys, bring in recruits, especially recruits that he found in high school. Now next year you're starting to get to the point where the guys that you brought in from high school are starting to get, they've been in your program for a few years and stuff like that. But I mean, even as you were saying, I mean, even outside of college football, it's all of college athletics that these coaches are having to, juggle the intricacies and everything that's new being thrown at their way when it comes to NIL and transfer portal. I mean, the numbers were crazy. I think it was 20% of all FBS scholarship athletes entered the transfer portal at some point throughout their career last year. So it's it's a new age and it's a new era that not only the players are having to deal with, but also coaches and universities.
Dad, same thing.
Yeah, I had a
what I wanted to add on to that, so I wanted you to answer. A, what do you think about the question? And B, how do you feel about Kerwin Bell with the chat room?
Yeah, I got quite a few.
My buddy Jason Potter, kiss it.
I got quite a few things to say about that. I was waiting to talk out of respect for fellow panelists. I have a lot to say. I'm responding to comments by the people here. First of all, there's so many. I came out pretty much with guns blazing on Sunday with my thoughts. In the most critical column I've written on Florida football since the early failure of Dan Mullen. And basically I said this clearly, something's wrong. It has to be fixed. Is it Billy Napier? I don't think Billy should be fired. Is it the system? Well, 100 analysts. Think about this, David. There are more analysts than there are on a travel team when they go on the road. They have more, and they have only, 80-some players. They have 100 analysts. Well, 90 analysts, 10 coaches. Van Der says, buddy, I can see your struggle to not criticize the man. That's commendable, but the time is now. It's time for you to speak out. Well, Van, that's exactly what I did on my column on Sunday. I spoke out and said it was shameful. Shameful what happened. You have no business letting a team that did not won a game in the SEC come into your house and beat you in a game. I don't care about all the problems you had early on, the mistakes you got behind 14-0. You shouldn't have been behind 14-0. And yes, it was a gallant comeback effort, but not good enough. Not good enough. And they were 11-11 under Billy Napier. And now you start to think, okay, where do we go? Something's not working, okay? It could be the system, which, as I wrote, is kind of like the critics say of Billy. He has a Nick Saban starter kit. Well, we know he got all his analysts. He has the same thing as him. And here's a most damning comment. I asked Shane Matthews today, how many of the analysts do you know? What do you guys think he said?
None.
Maybe
Zero.
one.
Zero. And when you think about the system he comes under, and Nick Saban, can you name some guys that coached under Nick Saban? I mean, one's coaching at Ole Miss now, Charlie Stone. These are former head coaches. Yeah, Kirby. There's some pretty good people who coach them as analysts, though, even. And you think, well, what's the quality of analysts Billy's bringing in? I have to ask that question. And if it's the system, then scrap the system and start doing something else, because this is not working now. And someone has to ask those questions, and there has to be some changes. Saying we'll get to it at the end of the season is not good enough. I understand what you're trying to do. You're kicking the can down the road. Gator fans want to know that something is being done about it right now. And yeah, Billy said, David, in the press conference, it's not my job to ask the fans for patience. Well, guess what? It is your job.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what you do. If you don't believe it, wait until you see the hell is coming at you the next 3 weeks when you go 0-3. Ooh, yeah. It's going to be ugly, and you better strap it on, Billy, because we've been through a couple of these sieges like this before, and they ain't pretty. So I don't know. I like Billy, I want him to succeed, but there's some broken things that aren't getting fixed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the patience thing. When you think about what it takes to just go to a game, and tailgate, and you're paying, I don't know how much for tickets these days, and and it's even more if if you get a season ticket with a with a personal seat license, and you go in and you're paying $6 for a hot dog and sitting on crappy benches right now, and you go out there and you see a product that isn't you're not getting your money's worth, but you want it to succeed because you're an orange and blue at heart, and there's nothing. That's what I'm saying. Hey, we ought to put on a better show. We appreciate your patience here. This is a project. It's the proverbial process, and it's getting there. We're going to have fits and starts. Just bear with us, and it'll pay off. But thank you for showing up and cheering because we need you. Something like that.
Yeah,
I think would go a long way. But I mean, you're right. It is his job to ask for patience when it comes to that, because and I could see if the fans had no reason to be impatient, but he's given plenty of reason to say, why should I have much more patience with him?
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. So it is what it is now, and you got to call it like it is. And it's right now. The game against Arkansas was epic fail. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is funny how just that, despite all those fails, if they had just hadn't screwed up and made that kick, how different our conversation would be right now. All right, they qualified for a bowl game. Now maybe they got a little mo. Maybe they can steal one of these last 7 wins. Beating a good team in the last. Whether it's LSU or Missouri or FSU, and even if they don't, all right, well they're going to go to bowl game, and so at least it wouldn't look like they are regressing. But just that non-turn the page, can't get your act together on a field goal, came up and screwed up. And so here we are thinking, that man, it's if they could just, and then we're still like yesterday when he said, we're going to dig in and see what the problem was. Well, he thinks, well, we made a mistake, obviously, but not like we didn't need the name of everybody's name on how it screwed up. But how it came about. You just wish you'd had more than, we're going to do better, because we've heard that for 9 weeks now when it comes to just to sit. It's one thing not to have talent, not to be able to compete, but any team, pee-wee ball or higher, just does the simple things like you're on this team, you go out here and this play, and this is, you're on this unit is out there here. This unit you go out there. I've never seen a team on any level, maybe once a year you have 10 men on the field. They kind of call on a crucial, on a big play, and it comes back and bites you. It's just habit with this team.
Yeah. Kyle, final thoughts for you before we say goodbye. If you like Kyle Keefe, I used to work with the guy in NHL named Kyle Keefe. I just called you an old friend. Kyle, can you tell us final thoughts? If you like Kyle, you can read him on GatorBaitMedia.com. Does a great job for it. Final thoughts, Kyle. What you
can see him in the local bar. You can see him upstairs in the attic of the ATO house.
The penthouse, right?
Penthouse
executive suite.
Penthouse was last year, so good call on that. It's exec this year, but no, for LSU this weekend. I'm like David. I'm an optimist when it comes to the Gators. It's looking like Jaden Daniels. There's a chance that he might not be playing. So maybe next week we can talk about bowl eligibility. I'm keeping the fingers crossed. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week.
Kyle, beware of these weapons.
I know. I'm not a big soup guy, so
beware of these weapons right here.
Weapon.
That's like a switchblade right there. Okay.
Thank you, Kyle. Have a good night. We say goodbye. David Whitley stays with us. Up next, Mr. Iron Duke himself.
How about Whitley?
And he has been the Iron Duke lately. I'll tell you what.
Yep.
In fact, I've gotten to start calling him the Machine. He is doing a great job. Franz Beard up in the orange and blue room. But first, we're going to hear from Meldon Law.
My lawyer.
Might want to call Meldon.
Mm-hmm.
Getting back to Swamp Kings, I think I was impressed. I really didn't understand how hard he worked, how hard Urban Meyer worked at getting that team ready to compete in the SEC and on a national stage.
You think maybe Gator fans will value their championship legacy just a little bit more now?
I hope so. I never got it. I didn't understand why people didn't say, take Urban at his word when he said he was really sick. I understand that he went back, to Ohio State, but he did take a year off and do his ESPN thing. And, it's in your blood when you're a college coach. It's almost like you're willing to sacrifice your life in order to have the ability to lead a team to a national championship.
No doubt. I'm going to issue an invitation to you right now. Urban's coming to Gainesville the week of Vanderbilt. And I'm going to take him out to Spurrier's for bite to eat, and you're invited. How's that sound?
I would love to do that. I actually,
Thank you, Jeffrey Meldon. And we welcome to the show right now, Mr. Iron Duke, down in the Celebrity Squares right-hand corner, Franz Beard. Hello, Franz.
Well, guys, this must be old farts night. Got Buddy and David Whitley and me on here. Buddy's the young Buddy and Brendan on the left side, the young guys.
Playing hurt.
Well,
playing hurt. Playing hurt.
Here, Franz, I'll make you feel better right now. We'll put David up there, and then you and I.
What'd you do to your thumb, buddy?
4 stitches. Attacked by the
Bye-bye.
scan. Attacked the sand. So David and I are going to file a lawsuit.
Four stitches. Buddy versus. I think Buddy was actually in a fight. He was roughing it up at the bar.
Is Jeffrey Meldon the official injury law partner?
I said I'm calling Jeffrey. I'm going to call him up. They got a case. Hey, hot coffee at McDonald's. The soup can cut my thumb. I can't type. I can't work. I'm out of work. That's got to be worth something.
Can't you see the ad that now that says I'm Buddy Martin and I was in an accident where I cut my thumb and Jeffrey Meldon got me $500,000
or $5.
That would be good.
Yeah,
Franz, what do you think? Yes or no? Bring back the Gator bait chant to maybe just jumpstart these last. Well, I guess it's only against FSU, but. Nonetheless, what do you think? It was kind of
it was ridiculous to ban it in the first place. That's a president that we've had. It's kind of like the 21st century, and is kind of with college presidents at UF has been kind of like the football coaches for the most part. We've had 6 football coaches and. One of them was a dud. Only one of them wasn't a dud. I'm talking about since Spurrier, and we've had. I hope the new president turns out okay because the last ones have been terrible. But anyway, banning the Gator bait chant was just absolutely ridiculous. Football's about traditions, and it's not. Look, if somebody found something obscure that says that Gator bait was something racist, 100 years ago, and or more, and nobody ever proved that it was true. It was just simply the insinuation of it, and at a time when everybody was being very hypersensitive, and the president of the university didn't even have the willingness to just say, let's just kind of see how it happens. If there'd been a real uproar about it, okay, maybe then, but there was no uproar about it. Unbelievable.
Look, I mean, who coined the phrase? If you ain't a Gator, you must be Gator bait.
Lawrence Wright. Lawrence isn't exactly the whitest human being on the planet, by the way. I don't know if anybody ever noticed that other than me, but
I always thought he was a closet white supremacist, frankly.
Yes.
That explains it.
That's all. That's what it is. It's a cover-up.
David. This is what happens when you grow up in that ultra wildlife environment of being the child of Southern Baptist missionaries.
Yeah. Well, it is I almost want to take the bait, pardon the pun, and write about that just because it would avoid having to write about current topics.
There you go.
That's a great idea.
Filibuster.
Which has gotten pretty old.
Yeah.
I like it.
The basketball team looks promising.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
And Caglione, Sunday darn near left the ballpark in right center field, hit the back wall about 80 something feet beyond the right field fence.
Wait, Caglione's playing basketball too?
He's playing baseball. They had had a fall scrimmage there, and he hit a suborbital home run.
Oh, he's a man for all seasons.
I think Franz has been to a baseball game, a basketball game, 2 press conferences, and a partridge in a pear tree in the last 48 hours. I think you've written
no gymnastics.
15 articles. He's been the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basketball team though. I don't know about David, but I thought for first time out with so many moving parts, I thought that was pretty impressive what they did last night. I wasn't, it wasn't overwhelming, but I would say impressive because so many new guys, first time out in a real game playing together. And I thought they looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some interesting pieces there that you look forward to see how they develop. It's been, like you were saying last night, there hadn't been a point guard like Walter Clayton Jr. Around Gainesville in a while. And when you think of him and Kugel, that shapes a pretty good backcourt. And then you look at the front court, the Hangloten, Handlogton. I got to get them. Figure these things out.
Hey, by the way, did you see Kugel's shoes?
Oh, the pink ones. Yeah.
Hey, buddy, look, you and Cougs.
My guy.
Your guy right there. Same guy.
Franz knows he's my guy. Since he went on the court, I love that guy.
Yeah. He's got serious skills. I'm so impressed with his explosiveness. I mean, he just, and yet at the same time, he gets up so high and he does it so effortlessly. I mean, I'm not trying to say he's the next Michael Jordan by any stretch. Nobody's the next Michael Jordan, but Michael was like that. Michael, it was like sprawling, but it looked like he wasn't even trying to go sprawling,
I mean, look at him right here, just dribbling. It's a great picture by Chris Spears, by the way. I mean, look, you're just driving up the lane there. I mean, you got both feet off the ground. You got some hops. If that's
Franz, you made a good point when you wrote about it. So he can get a shot off from anywhere on the court. He can create his shots anywhere, and he can go through the bigs and do it. He can make the threes. He's a terrific passer.
Yeah,
really great passer.
And the same is true for the guy we didn't see last night, Zion Pullen, who is transferred in from Cal Riverside. And Zion Pullen is going to allow us to play basically 2 point guards, but yet both of them are serious 3-point shooters. Walter Clayton shot 43.8% from three last year up at Iona. Zion Pullen shot 39.4%. Then you get over on the other side, Will Richard. Will Richard hardly is going to be coming off the bench, and this is a guy who's a career 39% shooter. He didn't play well last night, but he didn't have to. And then you throw in Kugel. My gosh, they've got weapons. And I look back to the last couple of years, and first off was the Mike White's, let's see how many people we can put to sleep offense, and then last year, just no weapons. They look good. They look like they got potential.
Well, it's going to be exciting to watch. Now, gentlemen, I do want to switch it back to football. I do love going to Death Valley. I'm not going to go to this game, obviously, this year, but
I thought David Whitley had his contract. He has milk and cookies at 9:45.
Well, no, not when I'm on the show. I make him push past it. He's got to do Ironman. We can have a comment from him. We'll say goodnight to him if you'd like. But Mr. Whitley, in your opinion, they got a chance in Death Valley?
Well, every time I hear that, I think back to Jeff Daniels saying,
there's a chance.
There's a chance. We got a chance. I got a chance.
Saying there's a chance.
Saying that, yeah. There's a chance, but the way that defense has regressed, even if Jaden Daniels is healthy, oh man, I don't know how they're going to keep him under 40 points. Even if it's Nussmeier, I think at this point, you could play, Nussmeier's mother out there, and you're going to get at least 4 TDs on that defense. The way things have gone, and given the injuries, obviously Shamar James is lost for the season, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow what the status of Tyreek Sapp and Cam Jackson are. But they are, and it's just hard to fathom that they're going to keep LSU from piling up a bunch of points. Of course, LSU's doesn't have the best defense, so you see the Gators scoring some points too. So it's possible, but I just say I wouldn't be very optimistic at this point.
David, do you have anything you're writing about? You're going to write about Gator Bait? The chat room's electric with the racist, non-racist comments.
By the way, no trivia tonight. Lauren's in France.
He's in France.
France. Wow.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean,
Not Friends, France.
Hey, look,
France.
when you work, we pay our employees very well at Gator Bait. So
Apparently,
can,
maybe he's over there scouting for Todd Golden, you know, because you got quite the international flavor coming in, you know, on that team. In fact, you know, another guy I'm sure Franz, you know, can talk about him is Con. I want to call him Condren just because everything else is named Condren around the campus there. But you know,
Condon's an Aussie. Samuels is a Canadian. We have the Lithuanian kid Kablikas. You know, that's three internationals right there. I don't know. Is there? I'm trying to think if there's a fourth one.
Let's see. Will Richard. He's from Rome, Georgia. I think. Rome, something like that.
Well, that's close enough. Yes, indeed.
Actually, I make fun of the special teams from the column. Then I actually got Todd Golden to talk about. You know, Todd is he's a Jew and a dual citizen of Israel and the U.S. So I just sort of he weighs in on the Gaza war. He's got some interesting things to say, and wrote that up. It's sort of off topic, you know, from the usual stuff, but it's you know, it's interesting when, you know, guys talk about real life and their experience, because he played 2 years in Israel, and he certainly knows what's going on better than the average person. And given what's going on college campuses around America, you know, when it comes to this, and you know, he had an interesting perspective on it. But
how about the guy with the greatest name of all, Denzel Aberdeen?
I like that.
You got to go for that, Denzel Aberdeen. I like that name.
Well, David, you find Mr. Whitley. It's almost how many days a week do you write now?
Too many. You know,
too many.
9 days a week.
9 days a week.
Yeah.
He's on.
What I need to do is like go open a can of Campbell's soup.
Bam. Do it at work
and get on the DL. So I can't
do it at work, and you get like a double workman's comp.
You know, Buddy, he's old school.
We'll take our money to the south of France and live large.
That's right.
Weapon right there. There it is.
But he's gonna play hurt. He's gonna ride hurt. It's the only way he knows how to do it.
Career's ruined.
Old school. Old school. Well, you can Gainesville Sun. You check him out. He's awesome. He's everywhere. He's David Whitley. Thanks for joining the big program tonight, sir.
Thumbs up, guys. You too, especially you, buddy.
Let me say this: one of the really good guys in the business, and has been for a lot of years. And I don't say that just because he's on the show, but David really is one of the real good guys in the business.
Oh, back in. See, now that means because Brendan said at the start of the show, he said I was one of his favorite human beings on earth, but he only knows like 3 or 4 human beings.
Yeah. Well, the 3 are right here.
Franz knows a lot of people.
Yeah, right here. There's 3 people. Thanks, David. Have a good night. Enjoy your milk and cookies. I just feel like you're an oatmeal cookie guy.
I'm more chocolate chip, but that's.
Are you? Yeah. That's why you're my guy. All right. Good night, David. David Whitley.
Let me tell you about TitanMRI.com. What Franz is going to launch into his tirade. And great job on. I'm reading your story for the second time on basketball. Nobody writes basketball better than Franz. Titan MRI, live read, it says right here. Titan MRI is worth a short drive to Gainesville. No insurance, no problem. You can pay with cash or card the same day scheduling. Where do you get that? Start feeling better today because Titan MRI is North Central Florida's premier independent MRI facility. Premier independent MRI facility. Come see why hundreds of people and patients are visiting our Gainesville office from Ocala, Marion County, all points south and north from the villages. That's TitanMRI.com.
And state-of-the-art MRI facility. Nice and quiet in there. Less freaky. And they sponsor the show. So, got to give them some love, right, Dad?
Absolutely. Good people.
All right, guys. We've got about 10 minutes left in the program. I'd like to focus a little bit on the Iron Dude. I want to talk a little bit about this football, this Billy Napier thing. Franz, you've been covering this obviously closer than anyone I know. I'll put you up here, Franz. You and Buddy can be centered there. What do you think? What's Billy got to do here to fix and right the wrongs here? Obviously, I know you don't think Billy should be gone, but should he re-rack the deck?
Well, before I say anything, Robert Turner, that Dale, Mr. Van Sickle was my grandfather's first cousin. So, okay. Anyway, look, it's too late in the season. You're not going to fire, you're not going to do something stupid like fire a coach or a coordinator or anything like that unless there's something truly egregious. I think he's got to get. I think even he would have to tell you that he's got to have a special teams guy. You've had 2 punts blocked this year. You've had a field goal blocked. You've had a couple field goals blocked, and on and on and on like that. And they are not a good special teams unit. And he pointed out, he was right the other night when he said that if we make the field goal and and have a good snap on the extra point, everybody's talking about what a good special teams day it was. But that's the problem. It wasn't. If frogs had wings, they wouldn't bump their butts every time they jump. There is an issue, and it seems that every single ball game, something pops up. What was the old Rosanna Dana line?
Dana.
It just goes to show you it's always something. If it isn't one thing, it's always something else. And this is the thing. Now, part of it's growing pains, but part of it has to do with the fact that the growing pains aren't just about the kids on the field. Some of the growing pains have to do with the coaching staff, and I'm convinced of that. And the head coach has to understand that. One of the big steps that coaches have to make, and I think Buddy would agree with me here, is sometimes you got to look in the mirror and you got to look at your staff and you got to say, okay, I'm the one that takes the heat. Therefore, I'm the one that's got to get rid of some people. I got to make some changes here.
Are there too many? Is there too many coaches? It's a large group of people to communicate with, right?
Well, he's got a lot of analysts and stuff like that. I don't know how much the analysts really contribute. I'm not out there at practice, but I do know this. He doesn't have a special teams coordinator, and he needs one in the worst way. No doubt about it. He needs a special teams coordinator. And
Ron Zook.
Ron Zook.
He did it at Green Bay.
Ron Zook would be. Ron Zook is one of the best special teams guys I've ever seen. Now, and let me say this. It's not always necessary if you've got the right people and analysts and staff. Urban did it without a special teams coordinator. And Florida had the best special teams of anybody in the Southeastern Conference from 2005 to 2010. And it wasn't even close. All you got to do is look at the number of returns for touchdowns. Look at Chaz Henry, the punter, and Urban used to get Urban's last line to him going out on the field. Chaz will tell you right now is he grab him by the arm and say, go out there and make it wet. In other words, kick it so high that, it comes down with rain on top of it. And the year that the Gators, 2008, the last year the Gators won the national championship, if I'm not mistaken, they only had 14 yards in punt returns against them the entire year. It was an amazing thing. But since then, you look at the special teams haven't been special in 11 years. And that contributes to the fact that, as I've said, what Billy inherited was 11 years in the making. This is not an overnight deal, but you can help fix some of the things overnight in the offseason if you go out there and get a special teams coordinator. And I think that's going to have to happen. I'm not so sure that he's going to have to, but he may have to give up the play calling. And I say that, I know he doesn't want to, but I think that he's got to be the CEO. He's not Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier could do it and still be the CEO, because Steve Spurrier is one of these rare individuals that Buddy and I've been around an awful long time, and there's only been one like him. And that goes through the years, and that's not just one Spurrier like him, but you go back to the Bryant years at Alabama and all the Vince Dooley years at Georgia and all these other things. Spurrier's unique. There's never been anybody like Spurrier.
Franz, let me I don't mean to interrupt you, but let me ask you though, because of transfer portal, because of the NIL, because of the options and it's a different game right now. Is it harder now to come in to revamp a program like Billy did, or is it easier? And should they be given a little bit more time, considering the players have more choice, right? They have more, they have the ability to come and go.
Well, the portal is interesting because you got two choices here. And I'll throw this out to both you guys, and I'd like to hear your opinions of it, really. If you go out there and you go wholesale, like Lane has done this year at Ole Miss, and you got him, and Lane's got 16 transfer portal guys starting, which is unbelievable. He's done. I don't know anybody that's had that kind of success in the portal. And either Lane is a raging genius, or else he just rolled the dice and kept rolling it and has yet to roll snake eyes on it. But you got two choices. If you go out there and do what Lane did and it all works, everybody says, why isn't everybody doing it? Well, there's a simple reason. A lot of people are trying to and nobody's doing it. Lane is, but nobody else is. Or do you choose to pick and choose your portal guys very carefully and then try to build with the high school kids and get the foundation in there, which is, I think, what Billy's doing. But I think he's got the right approach on that. I'd like to hear what you guys think on that.
Okay, I'll give my 2 cents worth on this. As people say I'm asleep. No, I'm listening. I think there's a couple of danger zones right now. One of them is, Brendan was the first to say this about a month and a half ago. If you lose the fan base, people stop giving, there goes your NIL money. And that means a big dent in recruiting. So it's not just to entice people, you got to keep them. The second thing is, I asked a very prominent person, not named Steve Spurrier, about what he thought about the program, who has Gator roots. He said, I think they should fire them all. Surprised me. He said, I ought to fire them all, Billy including his whole staff. That surprised me. Secondly, while Billy looks deliberate, he can't be stubborn. And when he says things like, it's not my job to tell the Gator fans to be patient. Yes, it is. You have to show them why. You can call it anything you want to, short of Florida beating Florida State to get bowl eligible. That Arkansas loss was a dismal mark on his program. He's 11-11. He's got 3 games left, underdog all 3. Probably not going to make a bowl game. It's time to assess, what is this? Is it, as critics say, a Nick Saban starter kit that he goes out and hires these analysts? And here's the thing that got me. I asked a well-known guy today, how many of the analysts do you know? He said, not one. I named, not one. I bet you can name 10 Nick Saban had. So there's something missing. Getting 100, getting 90 analysts, getting numbers there is not the equivalent of Nick Saban getting quality players, coaches who want to become head coaches like Lane Kiffin and so on. So the system is not working. How's it going to be fixed? Head's got to roll at the end of the season.
Franz, I guess, by the way, I agree. I mean, interesting comments that I know we've talked about it in the past, but I guess it's like you're already this far in, right? I'm not one to go backwards. Can't go back to and fix yesterday, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So all we have is right now, right? So I don't feel like, I feel like Billy's done a great job, obviously recruiting and preparing for next year. I guess was of the opinion that this year really wasn't going to be that strong. I'm not super surprised, by the win loss column. I guess by the way they lost, but after Utah, I was obviously very vocal about how I felt about it. So I guess I've come to the conclusion that I think Billy is 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 the guy, whether you like it or not, and I think he's going to be okay. I actually I actually think he's going to be okay. I think in a lot of ways that the SEC was sort of down this year, and there was still this hope, right? And I think now that that hope is gone a little bit, I feel like it's okay now to say, look, this team's not good. And I didn't expect it to be. And a lot of people didn't. And to call for his head now and to say he's all these things, I think is ridiculous because look at what he's done in recruiting. So he is prepping next year. Now, if we're here at this time in November next year, I think then you have a bigger sort of issue. I think he's going to have to fix it. I think he's trying something new. I think he's trying to do something different. And look, he's our horse now. And I think now, whether you like it or not, I think this is where we need to be. Starting over again would be implosion. I just think it would just be bad form. I think you could talk about Kerwin Bell. You could talk about bringing in the Zucker, all this kind of stuff. That doesn't make sense. What makes sense right now is Billy Napier. And what makes sense right now is the second or third best recruiting class in the country. So you've got a lot to look forward to. I think DJ Lagway is really special. I think a lot of what we're going to see in the next coming 1 or 2 years, and like I said on Rob Brown's show the other day, look, if you're going to come in and go to the struts and any SEC school right now, you have to expect a 3 to 4 year process to retool. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. Whatever happens from the next 3 games, it doesn't really matter as much other than it hurts as a Gator fan.
I think they've got I think that the masses would be appeased with 1 win in these last
FSU.
If they beat FSU is kind of like dog years. 1 human year is worth 7 dog years. I think the way Florida fans are looking at it right now, 1 win over FSU is like 7 dog years. Okay. I think the Gators, I think that if they can get to a bowl game, I think that would be an accomplishment. I thought there was a time not all that long ago, I thought they were going to win 8 ball games, but I didn't see I did not see the implosion on the defense, and I didn't see the lack of progress on the offensive line. And I hate to say it, but the offensive line has not progressed. I thought they were better than that. As we're learning, for one thing, Damian George was told at Alabama, you're going to have to move inside permanently. And he wants to play tackle. And he came here and they let him play tackle. And he can't play tackle. He's a guard. I love having a 6'7", 365-pound guard. I really do. I love having those huge road grader types next to the center, particularly when you have a center like, unfortunately, Kingsley, who can't handle a nose tackle on his own. But you get a big guy in there. Like last year, Kingsley had Osiris Torrance next to him. Amazing how much better Kingsley looked. Everybody was saying Kingsley could be like the all-SEC center. Well, it helped that he had Osiris next to him. Saibo made a lot of people look good next to him. He made the right tackle look better than he was last year. And I was surprised that the offensive line has not progressed as much as I thought they were. And back when Buddy and I were both thinking they could win 8 games, I thought at that point in time the offensive line would make progress. I thought at that point in time the defense although would give up more yards than they were earlier in the year, would not implode, and they have in both cases. So he's building it through recruiting. He's going to be but I think he's going to, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. I think instead of getting 8 to 10 guys in the portal, I think he's going to have to look at maybe 15 because I think he's got to get 10 offense. I think he's got to get 10 linemen, 5 offense, 5 defense, and I think he's got to get them.
I totally agree. I think that's what a lot of people have been saying, and I think it got to get bigger and better and faster on the offensive line to compete. Franz, I just want to say you've been a machine this week. Thanks for writing. If you like what this guy has to say, you'll like him even more when you read him. He's on GatorBaitMedia.com. He he covers basketball. He covers football. He covers it all. He's the man on the scene. He's Fran Beard. He's one of our very, very well. He's like a brother, really. He's like a brother. And he's like the third Martin. He should be called Franz Martin. Franz Beard Martin.
Or we should be called Beard.
Right. Well, maybe we should get called Beard. I like that.
Well, you've already got one. You've already got one Francis in the room.
Right.
Bud Light himself.
Franz, thanks for all that you do. I'm not going to even ask you what you're writing about. You're going to be writing about everything, and you can check him out every day with Thoughts of the Day on GatorBaitMedia.com. Good night, Franz Beard. I'm sure we'll be talking later when you file your story. We'll talk soon, my friend. Franz Beard. Thanks you.
Thanks,
buddy. Good show tonight. Chat room's a little choppy. As usual, a little lively with some of their comments, but hey, you know what? Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Let me say good night to Rins.
That's good. Well, that's what I was going to say. So we want to we're a little late, so we want to make sure we go ahead and bring in our guys from Renstar. Say a little good night to them.
Old people get tired early. So anyway, I want to tell you about Renstar, our good friends there, support us all these years. They're great people. They're terrific citizens here in Ocala. They have a great reputation here, having a high-quality, patient-centered clinical research facility. Bring cutting-edge clinical research trials to Ocala in areas like Alzheimer's, psoriasis, osteoarthritis, migraines, fibromyalgia, all of many other conditions that affect us here in this community. They have these clinical trials since 1998. Renstar has had more than 700 clinical trials. Continues to partner with prominent pharmaceutical companies and biomedical companies throughout the medical industry. Check them out at renstar.net. You might qualify to be in those trials. Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
Oh, that was our best one.
Good night.
Oh, do you feel like that was our best one? I feel that was our
one of the best. Good job, Brenden.
Hey, are you feeling okay for real? Look, it's coming off. Dad.
It's the barbecue stain on it.
By the way, everyone, just so you know, we are father and son. I don't know. A lot of people don't know that.
He's the dad. I'm the son.
Well, some days it's not. But we are father and son. We've been at this for a while. Good night, Dad. I love you,
Brenden.
Have a good night. Take care. If you need me, call me. I'll be over.
Thank you.
All right. He's Buddy Martin, one of the greats of all time, and also my father. Tell you about GatorBaitMedia.com one more time. Why the hell not? Check out GatorBaitMedia.com. It's good stuff. Check them out. www.GatorBaitMedia.com. Buddy writes all the time. Franz writes there. Kyle's writes there. Lawrence writes there. And we don't think it's racist. We've actually had an entire professional poll that we paid for to be there. So, but thanks to all those folks that have subscribed, because we have had banner year this year. Thank you very much. We do appreciate it. We say goodnight to everybody in the chat room, all of our regulars, and just know your opinion matters here. And we respect that, but we try to do our best. We bought Gator Bait a long time. Anyway, check us out tomorrow night. It will be the Orange and Blue Bloods Thursday night. We will have Ben Troop. We will have Buddy Martin. We will have Franz Beard. Lauren Meadows is on assignment in France. Good stuff there. But he might check in. I think he's going to do a French trivia question. He's going to mix it up. I did talk to him earlier today. I'm Brenden Martin. It's okay. You don't have to like us all, but I love you. I love you all. And as always, I do say, thanks for joining us. Go Gators.